woman is dead after an immigration enforcement operation in Minneapolis, and the circumstances surrounding her killing have ignited a fierce national dispute over ICE and federal authority. 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed Wednesday by an immigration and customs enforcement agent during an operation in which she was not the intended target, according to local and federal officials. Almost immediately, dueling narratives emerged. The Department of Homeland Security claimed Good weaponized her vehicle, alleging she attempted to run over federal agents.
I want to reiterate, first with all of you, the facts of what happened today. At 10:25 a.m. Central Time, Immigration and Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work all throughout the day. ICE agents repeatedly ordered her to get out of the car and to stop obstructing law enforcement, but she refused to obey their commands. She then proceeded to weaponize her vehicle, and she attempted to run a law enforcement officer over. This appears as an attempt to kill or to cause bodily harm to agents, an act of domestic terrorism. The ICE officer, fearing for his life and the other officers around him and the safety of the public, fired defensive shots. He used his training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones.
But Minneapolis city leaders, witnesses, and video evidence tell a sharply different story. Mayor Jacob Frey, after reviewing footage himself, accused federal officials of spinning the facts.
There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now, and justice is what we've all got to get.
Multiple videos circulating online show ICE vehicles converging on Good's SUV in a residential neighborhood. Agents are seen approaching her car, pulling on the door handle, and shouting orders. As the SUV attempts to reverse and then pull forward, an agent steps in front of the vehicle and opens fire. Good was struck in the face. Witnesses say she appeared to be trying to flee, not attack. One neighbor said there was ample space for the vehicle to pass without hitting officers. Another described agents escalating the situation by blocking her path and approaching aggressively.
We all have to be out here to let everybody know that, at the end of the day, we're not going to stop because you're killing us. We're not going to stop. We're going to stay here, and we're willing to, let our lives be on the line for this.
Were to go with their neighbor to 26 Federal Plaza, I want to thank you for being a real New Yorker.
Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara expressed concern over ICE's tactics, emphasizing that shooting into an unarmed person's vehicle is considered extremely dangerous by most law enforcement agencies and is typically avoided unless absolutely necessary.
This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement being involved in a deadly force incident, meaning shots had been fired. Minneapolis police officers responded to the scene. We arrived and found a woman with a gunshot wound to the head. Life-saving measures were performed at the scene, including CPR. The woman was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center where she has since been pronounced deceased. The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force. I want to thank the mayor, city council president, other members of the city council, state legislators that were on the scene. This has been a very difficult time for everyone in the city. And this is obviously a very, very tragic situation where a woman has lost her life. That being said, in addition to this tragedy, which unfortunately we did predict, we were seriously concerned about further escalation from the scene. And I want to thank the elected officials that came themselves to help us prevent that from happening, as well as the individuals on that scene that remained peaceful and that abided by law enforcement instructions so that we could preserve that scene and ensure that a full and transparent investigation can take place. That being said, I just echo the mayor's comments that we ask that the community continue to call for peace. We understand people are going to be upset about what happened, and people are going to want to exercise their First Amendment rights. But please do so safely and lawfully to ensure that we do not have any further tragedy in this city or destruction.
The incident unfolded amid a massive escalation of immigration enforcement in Minneapolis. Since early December, ICE arrests in the city have surged from roughly 300 to 1,400, with DHS now deploying over 2,100 federal agents in what it calls the largest operation ever conducted in Minnesota.
How we as New Yorkers defend our immigrant siblings. Kristi knows that we will always stand together.